These things in perspective is normal. If anything, you're more scared like guys.
Yeah.
You
did, huh?
That was really fun.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Yeah.
All right, get in there.
How challenging was it?
It's pretty
Look, guys,
challenging. I mean, the bigger jets, like, you just have to be very slow, like, methodical with your movements.
Yeah, a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get used to the weight, and every movement's really slow. You don't want to overcorrect.
What happened?
Like
'Cause out here,
you
it
made a
went-
big pitch at one point.
I think I just walked up the brakes, man.
Oh, that was the pitch was the braking.
Okay.
It was on the
okay.
runway.
Yeah, that thing went. It was like full
It's
tilt forward.
it's-
From the
Insanely
inside, it doesn't
realistic.
feel like
I
that.
know.
Like it
Oh,
sounds like
really?
you're.
Yeah.
It looks like you're
The
flying.
wind's
It
there.
sounds like you're flying. There's wind. It makes all the same sounds.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So you guys just flew the Canada Air
CRJ.
CRJ 200, which is exactly like a.
It is the same. Yeah. It's
And
exactly
you
the
landed in San Francisco. Tell us about it.
We did, yeah. It was awesome. Mason had a great landing. We had a couple opportunities to try it. So coming in on final approach and using the light system and of course the instruments in combination to try to get the plane on the ground, and we had 4 successful landings.
Yeah. I mean, Mark is basically a professional.
I have not flown at all.
It was the most smooth landing I've ever experienced. You know, I was scared to get motion sickness, but Mark was special.
But Mason, that was your home airport your entire life. You should have been able to do it with your eyes closed.
I know, that's what he said, but you know, I was taking in the scenes too much. There's so many windows up there.
Oh.
So yeah, I got.
So did you try to go full Top Gun, like underneath the Golden Gate Bridge?
No, not this time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know about.
That was the aircraft carrier landing?
Yeah, I don't think you want to try some of those moves.
Mark was buzzing the tower earlier.
Yeah.
In the aircraft. Yeah.
So on any of these simulators that you've done, I've noticed that they all have movement with them. Have you felt nauseous?
No, I think it's like just being very delicate with your hands. If you're very smooth, then you don't get nauseous. I think everything keeps up. Normally, I do get a bit nauseous, like in VR and that kind of thing, but I was totally fine with all the simulators here.
Yeah, for me, the VR was a little bit. I was kind of looking around, and I haven't spent much time with VR, so I felt maybe a little off, but something I can get used to. But certainly, like something like this, and sort of sitting in what's effectively the actual airplane, it's so realistic. To me, yeah, it seemed second nature. It was cool. I would love to spend days in here just.
Well,
trying to get
speaking of
better.
days, you just did a 24-hour race on a sim. Could you do something like this in an airplane?
I think, I mean, obviously the takeoffs and the radio calls, I think the actual in-flight duration is probably the easy part, because you would, I guess, set autopilot, so you would be able to relax a little bit, but the takeoffs and the landings and the air traffic control communication, I think, would be quite challenging.
So Preston, you haven't done the CRJ 200 yet, but so far...
No, I flew.
Oh, you did?
I did. And
Okay,
I
so
mean, I-
was this your favorite as well?
This thing is the most realistic simulator I've ever been in. You know, it's pretty amazing. I mean, it is. You once they shut the door, you feel like you're in the cockpit of that jet.
So I know several of these have been a competition, and I think you won one of the
I think I
competitions.
won the crosswind landing, which is where they're simulating the wind coming from the side, so you have to, and the whole
Full drift?
The whole thing, yes, is drifting back and forth. I had a lucky landing. I mean, it felt good. I felt better each time. We got 4 or 5 attempts, and you know, it starts to come. So it was fun, and I don't know, probably a little bit of crossover from racing in terms of hand-eye coordination, and just we've got so much. You know, when you're racing, you don't think about your inputs. That's all just coming naturally. It's, you know, whatever your eyes are seeing, your brain is processing, that commands your hands and feet pretty much for most of it. And I'm sure that's where this gets to. Total concentration while we were in there, because everything also feels like a little bit more sluggish. I mean, this is obviously simulating a huge plane, so you know, when you pull back or push forward on the yoke or tip it side to side, everything's just a little slower to react. But you know, it's not. It doesn't feel like it's super hard. I mean, we had the pilot next to us handling.
Driving a race car is harder.
Yeah.
So Maddie and Suelio, it's your first week on the job with Hyundai, and you're already flying airplanes. How's it going?
I can't complain. I'm having a lot of fun.
No, it's been great. Opening your minds to like how precise these things can be and how precise we have to be in the field as well. So it's amazing. It's a good experience.
What's the biggest similarity to driving a race car? Of the 4 simulators that you did, which one would be the most similar?
I think the multiple coordination that you have to develop. You have to control so many, actually even more axes than a race car. So it just makes your brain you have to be very precise with many things at the same time.
Suelio, you started before hitting the actual racetrack as a professional on the simulator. So are you impressed by these flight simulators?
Yeah, I love it. I want one in my home now. Really, it's amazing the way it tricks your brain to really think that there is G-force there and all the movements. It's impressive.
Bryson, we've got the Cessna behind you, which is where you started today on the aircraft carrier landing. How challenging was that?
Well, the first time the screen ended in red everywhere. So
Crash and burn.
I don't think that's a good sign. But the second and third time was a bit better. I was actually able to stop on the aircraft carrier. And then the biggest surprise to me was how sensitive it actually is. You know, you barely adjust it and you way overcorrect and you're facing the complete wrong way. So you just have to get used to that. And yeah, it's super fun to do.
Did you find that with all the flight simulators, or any in particular were a little more touchy or responsive?
Yeah, I found they were all quite sensitive except the carrier run. We did that in a fighter jet, and you know I ended up going 800 knots on accident, and it's not very nimble going that speed. So, but mainly the Cessna, and then here the CRJ was pretty sensitive, and you know you really have to be careful on what you touch, and yeah, it's very easy to overcorrect.
Did you?
Uh-oh.
He's on the brakes hard.